2025 basketball season may be months away, but for one man, the season never truly ends: LSU men's basketball head coach Matt McMahon. While many eyes are turning to the fall and the upcoming football season, McMahon is working hard to shape up his squad for next year. With NIL and the transfer portal, he's working with many different puzzle pieces to build the 2025 team. And to examine these puzzle pieces and gain a clearer view of what 2025 may look like for LSU men's basketball, Tiger Rag magazine editor Todd Horne and special guest host Patrick Wright bring on former LSU basketball head coach John Brady for some insight into the possibilities for the 2025 roster. I'm your host, Jake McMahon, and we'll get to that interview right after this.
Join in summer fun at your library. Every Friday in June at 7 p.m., families are invited to the main library on Goodwood for Movies on the Plaza. Teens can participate in our Cool Career Series and Teen Summer Film Camp. Plus, there'll be children's programs galore. Find out how to sign up for EBRPL Summer Reading Program at ebrpl.com/summer reading. ebrpl.com/summer reading.
Y'all ready? Yeah. Let's go. Come on.
Tiger Rag Radio is on the air.
Let's crank this thing up.
We're statewide, breaking down the latest happenings with LSU athletics.
This is us.
Hear from the coaches,
Put together a defense that puts us in a position to win the SEC.
the players,
Having fun and we working, baby. That's it,
the
baby.
recruits,
Show some passion and some heart.
and those who cover the Fighting Tigers of LSU and the
All
SEC.
those things are going to be there, which are important.
It's 2 hours of nonstop LSU
What
talk.
a privilege. I mean, you get to represent LSU.
Tiger Rag Radio is brought to you by Cummins. Cummins creates power solutions that the world depends on. Helm Paint and Decorating. The paint experts of Louisiana. Louisiana Beef Industry Council. Max Home. And the East Baton Rouge Parish Library. Get ready to talk Tigers with producer Jackson Blackman and our hosts, Todd Horne and Jeff Palermo.
Three great players that are better people than they are players.
This is Tiger Rag Radio.
And a very pleasant, good Tuesday evening to you all. Patrick Wright with you here, taking the place of Jeff Palermo, who is on vacation this week. Todd Horne, the editor of Tiger Rag, is with me. And so let's go to the lines. Our guests, of course, come to us via the Max Home hotline. Max Home, over 50,000 Max happy homeowners and counting. Coach, thank you for hopping off the golf course to join us this afternoon.
Well, you're lucky it's raining down here. I mean, so you hit it at the right time.
Well, Coach, there's a lot of exciting things going on right now with LSU's rebuilding of the roster, which now seems to be like an annual occurrence in all college sports, not just basketball, but it's literally a totally different roster that Coach McMahon is having to reconstruct right now for his third season. But it looks like a strong roster, and it looks like it's not finished yet, even though LSU only has 12 scholarships available. They've got actually 13 scholarship-level athletes currently, and they look like they may be adding another one.
Well, I'm not sure about the numbers that he has. I know in talking to Matt in the past, one of his goals was to have a balanced type of team, meaning enough experienced players to coach the new players that are coming in, combine that with 3 or 4 freshmen, which he has done. He's got 4 returnees, 3 or 4 freshmen coming in, and then go into the portal and make sure you hit on 4 or 5 more, which gives you a 12 or 13 man roster. And I kind of agree with that type of philosophy, as opposed to bringing in 8 or 9, 10 new players every year and having to get them to adjust to one another. And really, it comes down to what coach can get a team playing at a high level in a short amount of time. You get them on campus now. You got 3-4 months, and then you play a game. So it's a difficult situation to be in. But I like where he's going in the direction that he's going with it and what he's done. What he says he wanted to do, that's what he's doing. And any coach that gives you a plan about how he wants to construct his team, and then you actually see it taking place, the other question to be answered is, are these players good enough to get into the top 4 in the league?
Having of course, you didn't have to deal with the transfer portal and all that stuff and NIL and whatnot. Can you imagine how difficult it must be for Coach McMahon to execute the plan that you're talking about having a roster balance of a little bit of this, a little bit of that? It just seems like it'd be something that is extremely difficult to do.
Well, I like the idea. Well, the key is, I think, with that is to keep the players that you want to stay. And you're going to have players leave every year because there's no penalty. They look into where they can get paid more money or whatever the case may be with individual players. But I think you keep the players you think that can solidify your team and improve from one year to the next. And I think he's done that. And then you get 3 or 4 freshmen coming in. He's got 4 freshmen, 3 for sure, 4, and then he's going to hit the portal, bring in 5 or 6, and that's how his team's going to work. But the key is with that is to keep the players you want to come back that gives you some type of leadership and to pass along the culture to the new players coming in on what the head coach expects and really take care of your locker room. And I think that's important.
Coach Brady, you asked, I think the most significant question that is on the hearts and minds of Tiger fans across the state right now, and that is this going to be a good enough roster to, finish in the top 4 of the SEC? You made great strides this year, finishing tied for 7th and great improvement. But when you look at the nucleus of this team, especially the base with Jalen Reed and Tyrell Ward and Mike Williams and Derek Fountain coming back, and as you mentioned, the transfer portal signees he's already made with Jordan Sears, DJI Bailey, and Cam Carter, the recruits with Robert Miller, Curtis Givens, recently Noah Boyd, and Victorious Miller. And now we've got Coleman Hawkins coming in on July 17th, and he's the number 1 player left in the portal right now, 6'10", averaging about 12 points a game for Illinois, which made it deep into the NCAA tournament. Is this something to be excited about?
Well, I think so, but I think it's hard to tell. Those portal guys, they can really be good for you, or as in the case of Arkansas last year, they weren't so good. And I think you have to be careful in that regard. And I think what Coach McMahon, not only does he judge talent, I think he judges the character of the players that he's bringing in. And I think that's huge with him, as I agree with that. And if you're going to coach them and challenge them and make them better, sometimes they have to accept coaching as well. And sometimes in the portal, a young man doesn't understand that. But I think Coach McMahon puts an emphasis on the people he's bringing in. Do they fit what he wants and what he needs from a coaching aspect and standpoint? And I think that's why he's doing what he's doing. And this young man that's 6'10", that's coming in from Illinois, I read where he canceled his visit to Louisville, and he's at K-State right now, and he made a statement that he's not going back to the Big Ten at all. He's not going to play at a school where they don't have good football. Well, if that's the case, LSU's in. I mean, he's not going to K-State and watch a football game. And I read where he said that, and I said, well, this recruiting's over. All he's got to do is show up on campus, and this is done.
Yeah, that's when you had to recruit kids, how big of a deal was it for you to get them in on weekends, if possible, where they could take in Tiger Stadium?
Huge. I think at that time in the recruiting process, visiting on weekends was huge, because you got to see the passion, the care and concern, the love that the fans showed for the football team, and you would convince them that it can be translated into the basketball team if you're good enough and we can win enough games. And we showed you could do that. Coach Brown showed you could do that. And I think it's just the LSU fan base. If you put a team out there that's quality, and they play hard, and they look like they're well coached, you can certainly create an atmosphere in that building that's as good as any in the league.
Well, we don't have a football game scheduled mid-July. Maybe they can show him some videos or something to get him in here. But, one quick question. You saw all the games last year. You know what LSU has lost. From a basketball standpoint, what does LSU need the most next year to replace what they've lost?
I think they need consistent perimeter shooting always good guard play. And I think they've done that. I think the young man coming in from K-State that's local is going to add a dimension to our team that it needs. And I think they need somebody who can protect the rim and rebound the ball against any of the talented players in the SEC on the front line. And I think this 6'10" young man that's coming in, I think from on paper now, I haven't seen these guys up close and personal, which sometimes I think the transfer portal can be misleading if you don't sit down and you see him face to face or you watch him play. But because I think sometimes they take transfer guys based on what they did and the projections and the analytics. And although I think that's can be used in a positive way, certainly I don't think that's the telltale. But I think this young man coming in, 6'10", can proven he can rebound the ball in a good league. He's proven he can score the ball in a good league. I think we need somebody around the goal that can protect it a little bit, rebound it, and defend it.
Coach, we would be remiss if we didn't mention that the LSU basketball family and yourself personally lost a very special person this past week when Pete Maravich's son, his youngest son, Josh Maravich, passed away at the age of 42. Any thoughts about that sad situation?
Yeah, personally for me, it was tough. I talked to his mother about it, and I'm flying into New Orleans tomorrow to attend the funeral on Thursday. That's something I cannot miss out of respect for the family. And I really when I came back to New Orleans, Baton Rouge 6-7 years ago when I retired, Josh and I got real close. I went over and saw the family and spent some time with him. Talked to him on the phone a bunch the last 5 or 6 years. And my prayers go out to him and his family. And hopefully the peace and the comfort that he has now, he deserves it. It's a tragic thing, but I'm gonna be there out of respect and love for the family and give Jackie a hug and just hopefully it's something she can deal with and because it is tough. It is close to the LSU family, but I know how LSU responds to one of their own, and the support that she'll get from the LSU family will be tremendous.
Yeah, Coach, give her all of our best. We certainly, all the parallels that people draw to how close in time he passed to Pistol, and so give him our best. And Coach, we will see you not too far down the road. Basketball will be here before you know it. We're looking forward to it.
I think that most people that contact the 90-Day Lifeline are looking to be heard and to feel seen.
Anybody that calls here to talk about anything that has them upset, we will talk to them.
Even on our chat and text services, you will be actually chatting and texting with a real person.
We have enough resources to be able to help people in any type of situation.
We have helpline specialists that are trained to handle the variety of calls that we get.
It's a very laid-back thing. We're not judging anybody. We're just a listening ear that some people don't have.
All right, that'll be it for today's episode. Thanks to Todd, Patrick, and Coach Brady for the discussion and insight. We'll be back later this week, but until then, stay tuned to TigerRag.com for all your latest LSU sports news.